everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Camp Confidence.
Conversations about confidence, self improvement, and success between two Filipino entrepreneurs and two different journeys.
I am Ayin Bernos, the founder of Morena the Label and Ideology Studio.
Yes, and I am Rizza LANA-SEBASTIAN, the founder and CEO of LANA.ph and mink.ph.
For today's episode, we are talking about existential crisis. Oh my
Grabe, ang
gosh.
heavy ng topic na ito. And with all the questions and stories we read this morning, oh my gosh, I am so excited to talk about it. And vulnerability, grabe,
Mm-hmm.
intense. So,
This is highly requested, and also
mm-mm.
yun nga, we asked questions from the Camp Confidence community, but we also asked for stories. So
Yeah.
in line with that, we're gonna be talking about their stories, so not just ours, but also our members. And then yeah, it's gonna be really fun. But before that discussion, let's start off with our wins of the week. On a positive note,
Yes.
what has been going on with your life, madam?
Ako, ang saya ko kasi 'di ba last week parang I was in a slump, I was too
Yeah.
lazy, ganyan. So I decided I needed to reset my life. So I started with waking up early in the morning, tapos naglist talaga ako ng mga to-do list ko. Actually, I have it right here.
I
So,
love it.
binlog ko din siya. So, follow, ay, mag-subscribe na kayo, please.
Yeah,
Charot.
Rizza Lana on YouTube.
Yeah, so, ayun nga, meditation, journaling. So, parang, I just, ano ba, binalik ko lang yung habits ko na I know would make me feel better and stuff. So, yeah, I feel great this week. So,
A great reset.
yes, a great reset. How about you?
This week has been super duper busy, but in a good way because we're very happy na, we're very grateful to finally have our operations back. So it's been really busy, but at the same time, I've been trying to incorporate my fitness routine kasi nga I started like 3 weeks ago. I started getting back into fitness. Tapos this week I took my progress videos kasi I'm making a vlog about it. Gusto ko gumawa ng mahabang vlog about that. Tapos
Love it.
ano na talaga siya, like I lost 3% body fat and I gained
Wow.
muscle, and then I'm finally under 60 kilos, which is not something that I've experienced in the last year or so. So wala lang. Natutuwa ako na even though I'm back at work, I am able to incorporate fitness and wellness again into my life. Today, I didn't work out kasi medyo pagod na pagod talaga ako. Pero, ayun, I think everything in moderation is key.
Truly. Yeah, I saw your stories a while ago and it's super duper exciting. Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, progress. It's still
Documentation.
progress. Yes. So, ano na, ang dami nating kwento this week.
Mm-hmm.
And, go na tayo sa topic natin, existential crisis. So,
So for the first question, like just to give our listeners a little background about our relationship with existential crisis. So have you ever experienced it, and can you tell us what it was like?
oo naman, sobrang daming beses. As in, up until now, I actually have questions about myself,
Mm-hmm.
about ano ba talagang purpose ko in life, ganyan. But the first one I experienced was when I was 17 years old.
Ang
'Di ba, ang
aga
aga?
naman.
Ang aga,
17.
truly. I know. Parang,
Mm.
kasi I graduated college 17. So, I graduated from a school na lahat mayaman. And ako hindi. Ganon, alam mo yun.
Mm.
Tapos parang, I felt like, nung yung batch ko kasi, parang lahat sila may work na that time after we graduated. Lahat sila may work
Immediately.
na that time, tapos abroad pa. So parang ako, yung thinking ko of success when I was 17 years old was having a great job. Alam mo yun, parang excel
Mm-mm.
academically, having a great job, having a job abroad. So parang yun yung definition ko of success back then. Tapos parang
Yeah.
I don't have that. I mean, yes, I was excelling academically, pero hindi ako makapag-apply ng work abroad just because kulang kami sa funds. Parang may
Mm.
family, kumbaga, I didn't come from rich family. Mid, ano bang tawag doon?
Middle
Benwala.
class.
Yeah, middle class kami. Di naman kami nagugutom. Nakakakain naman kami 3 times a day. But we didn't have extra funds to make me work abroad. Ganon. So parang sabi ko, ano ba yan? Matalino naman ako. Pero bakit parang ako lang yung walang work sa batch?
Mm.
Dahil ba hindi ako mayaman? Ganon. Tapos parang ganon yung conversations na nandun, na nasa, parang inside my head. Tapos parang I know it wasn't healthy. Pero that time, let me admit na yun talaga yung nararamdaman ko. And yeah, that was the first time. And then, second was when I was 24, after 7 years.
Mm.
Eto, meron akong job nito. It pays the bills. Alam mo yun, very happy naman ako with my job. But, I started asking myself that when I die, what would actually be my legacy? As parang, ayun na naman, oh my God, ano ba to? Alam mo yung anxiety is real. And,
Mm.
alam mo yan, parang that time you didn't have a lot of answers because you didn't have that
Yeah.
enough wisdom, or you don't know that much people na makakapag um, that would actually give you wisdom on these kind of questions. So yeah, ganun siguro yung mga na-experience ko. And
How did you move past it?
I moved past it when I started reframing my mindset na um, I need to do things that adds value to my life, na parang
Mm.
ah, ano ba? Ano ba yung hobby na pwede
Mm.
kong, kumbaga, to distract myself of things. And I also started asking the right questions na
Mm.
hindi about, kasi parang ang vague din kapag sinabi mo, ano bang purpose ko in life? Tapos parang, oo nga, no? Parang mas lalo kang,
It's so existential na
I
parang how do you answer that?
I know. Tapos, ano, I read a lot of books. I
Mm.
watched a lot of documentaries, movies, YouTube, etc., etc. And it made me realize na parang shocks. I just need to enjoy the journey. I have to accept that I can't know everything about life. And
Yeah.
as the control freak in me, I had to make peace na hindi ko talaga malalaman lahat ng bagay sa mundo, and that's okay because we are just treading in this journey, and I just have to enjoy it kahit hindi ko maintindihan minsan, kahit oh my God, trial after trial after trial. But then, yeah, I started asking myself what would actually make me feel fulfilled and make me feel happy. And I reframed my goals na
Mm.
yung sa ginagawa ko ba ngayon, will it actually help me reach my goal in the future? And I also, ano ba, nagdo-double check din ako ng mga goals ko. Kasi baka mamaya yung goals ko nung bata ako, hindi na pala yun yung goals ko right now. So, yeah.
Sobrang totoo yun. Yung parang, you feel like just because you've had this goal for the longest time, you have to keep fighting for it, as opposed to just admitting and or accepting that, oh, I can change my mind about this dream, about this goal. And just because I didn't make that happen doesn't mean I'm a failure. It just means I evolved as a person.
Totoo.
Mm.
Ay,
Ang pinaka-existential crisis ko, I think, ano ba? I guess yung recently during the quarantine, that's the first thing I think about when I think about existential crisis. Pero madami na in the past. As in, sobrang dami nila na I can't even specify everything. Pero one that I really that really strikes me was nung quarantine, and all of a sudden hindi tayo maka-travel, hindi parang it didn't feel essential, me being a YouTuber. I had to ask myself, what am I really doing and what am I really working on? Kasi before my goal was I had Morena the label on the side, like a passive income kind of thing, and my main job really was content creation, like making content for brands, videos for brands, ganyan. But then during the quarantine, I was like, I can't help anyone. Like, if I had a team, I'd be supporting people with jobs, or I'd be providing opportunities. But because I, for the longest time, was working for myself and my luho and my travel, it kind of made me feel like I'm not really happy with this kind of setup. So in the last 3 months, I've been working on more on planning, like how do I solve this, kasi I can only complain so much about my situation. Like, at a certain point, you have to step out of that crisis and make the actionable steps, kasi ayun nga, we need to get out of that small picture in order to move forward, because it's so easy to get trapped into that existential crisis. Now you're always thinking about things, pero you only stop thinking and overthinking about it once we start doing stuff about it. So yeah, I'm very happy na kahit papano, at least even if wala pa akong final na destination na discover ko for myself, it's just knowing what I don't want really helps, kasi at least process of elimination na narrow down ko yung gusto ko mangyari. So, I've discovered na ayoko na lang pala maging very on YouTube, like very public on YouTube, because I used to post a lot of personal videos, personal stuff on YouTube. Now I just want it to be an avenue for information, but not really for myself na. So, ayun, I guess, we evolve as times evolve, and we just need to adjust. Yun yung aking existential crisis.
Mhm. Tsaka I think you just have to do small steps in your journey na parang
Mm-hmm.
don't look too far ahead. I mean, 'di ba? Parang it will still change as the time goes by, and you will
Mm-hmm.
eventually realize kung ano talaga yung na-enjoy mo in life,
Yeah.
na kung ano ba talaga yung passion mo, what actually makes you happy, na parang hindi yung katulad ng ideal happiness na sinasabi sa atin ng social media, ng
Mm-hmm.
YouTubers we follow, or even our parents. So,
Yeah, we define it for ourselves.
yes. So let's dive right into this week's community questions and stories. So, wait lang, ano ba yung, ikaw ba muna or,
Ikaw muna, ikaw muna.
sige. So the first community question or story is from Tisha Ann Ambal. So she said, "How did you get out of that phase? I understand that there really are dips. I mean, hindi lang talaga siya midlife or quarter life, and for me, I feel like it's happening a little too often. So yeah, how do you get out of it?"
I felt this way for a long time, and I even thought there was something wrong with me, because I would have days na I'm super productive, super passionate about what I'm doing, and that will go on for like a month. And then I'll spend 2 weeks wallowing in grief, and nasa kama lang ako. I won't even get out of bed. It's like, what is wrong with me? But this is something that I actually learned here on the podcast by talking to you. And ayun nga, when you talked about patterns before, when you can recognize the pattern of you falling into the dip, and then before it even happens, you remedy it by stepping back, yung mga ganong stuff. I realized that, oh, it's not just me who's experiencing this dip. It's really recognizing your own patterns, like your own symptoms, kumbaga, ng kung paano ka nag-roller coaster. Ako, for me, my symptoms, like my telling points, would be if ayoko mag-exercise, I don't feel like getting out of bed, I'll procrastinate. When those things start happening, it'll be a spiral. So what I do is talagang reset. I'll give myself a day to, okay, you have this day to relax, to chill, to watch Netflix if you want, but after this, here's a list of your to-dos and you have to do it. So ayun, I think it really helps when I admit and accept that this is my situation and this is what I'm feeling. Pero if I'm just, you know, if I'm denying the fact that I'm feeling this way, that's when I kind of lose control over it. So it's really helpful to recognize na this is solvable. Kasi it often feels like this is the end, or like, oh, I'm losing all the work that I put in. Sayang yung lahat ng effort ko kasi I feel down again. But actually, it's very easy to recover as long as you know it's recoverable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And you always have to honor your breathing gap, Yung parang kapag work, parang every single time you also have to breathe. I mean, you have to give yourself that, and that's fine. I mean, that's normal. And to be honest, having these questions in mind is also very healthy because at least you are very mindful of what's inside your head. And alam mo yun, you just have to know how to treat it though. You know how to, what do you call this? You have to deal with it, how to deal with it
Mm-hmm.
healthily. And ayun, that's perfectly normal to have a lot of questions in life. And it's okay if you can't answer it all at the same time. Kasi yun nga, lahat naman tayo, hindi naman natin alam talaga kung ano yung, ba't nga ba tayo nag-exist. So, yeah, for me naman, I got out of it when I started defining my core values.
Ooh,
Yes.
yes.
Parang ako kasi sa sarili ko, I also have a mission, vision statement in life and my
Mm-hmm.
core values. Very businessy, nakaka. Yeah, but yeah, for me, what helped was I defined my core values. For me, my core values is authenticity, kindness, and purpose. So when you start defining your own core values, that's how it guides you. That's how you can make decisions in the long run. Because in life, you'll have a lot of forks. Ang daming eto bang path na to or etong path na to. But if you stick to your core values, that's how you decide kung ano ba yung mas okay. Eto ba or eto ba. And it's not easy though.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy to define your own your core values and make decisions like these, but at least meron kang alam mo yun, meron kang
Guidance.
foundation and
Mm-hmm.
guidance. Yes, correct. So yeah, again, I recalibrate my goals every now and then. It's very important to list your goals, but it's also important to know when you should recalibrate your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So
Regarding the values, I think it's really important, especially when making decisions, because oftentimes we get confused by values and feelings. Because what we feel in the moment could be different from our core values. But the whole point of having core values is that it's unchangeable. So whether you're feeling down or you're feeling driven, it doesn't matter. If you look back at your core values, you'll always know na, okay, given these core values, the right decision would be blank. Kasi
yes.
if we only depend on our feelings, then syempre, it's gonna be different each time. But when we go back to those things that we really live for, then the decisions are still hard to make, but they get a lot easier.
Yep. Very
Okay,
true.
our next question is from Frankie Torres. Actually, this is not a question, it's a story. So we want to read it to you guys, and then I will share our inputs afterwards, our insights, or kung ano man. So Frankie is a member of the Camp Confidence group on Facebook, and she says, I live in an internal existential crisis, torn between doing what I love and doing what I'm good at. They tell you, those bright-eyed gurus with their chipper smiles, to do what you love, to follow your bliss. They never tell you that you cannot always afford to do what you love because you're the only daughter of a single mother who's nearing retirement age. That sometimes what you love does not love you back, that sometimes what does love you back is a job that you're good at but can somewhat sometimes take over your life, seeming to become your identity. I'm a musician, but most people know me as the girl from the Ilana lives. Most people want to talk about beauty and skincare, not music and mental health. And sometimes I'm at peace with that. And sometimes it sucks. Because the real me, I think, wants to talk about music and mental health. The real me likes her job, thoroughly enjoys it even, but doesn't want to be defined by it. The real me worries that she doesn't have much of a choice. She's better at lives than she is at live music. Frankie, I want to hug you.
Yes, sending you virtual hugs right now, Frankie.
Thank you for sharing
Oo
that.
nga. I love that she said that sometimes your passion cannot fund you. And you know what?
Mm.
If you are very lucky if it does. Because sometimes we just really have to accept that these people who tell you na, hey, quit your 9 to 5 job and be
Oh,
your
I
own
hate
boss.
that.
Not everyone can afford that, and that's okay. The reality is sometimes you have to mix your 9 to 5 job with a lot of side hustles, and
Mm-hmm.
being your own boss is honestly really blood, sweat, and tears, and it will never be easy. Alam mo yun? Especially when you
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of financial responsibilities your way. Wala lang. This story just really made me teary-eyed this morning. I actually read her blog.
Oh.
Yeah, naglagay siya ng ng link, by the way, dun sa Camp Confidence Facebook group. So if you're not yet on the group, be there.
Check it
Ayan. So
out.
yes, I read her blog and it was so real and raw. And na yes, once you're really passionate with a lot of things, the next day you get burnt out, and that's okay. That's normal. And sometimes work does consume you, but in life I learned that I have to take on I have to take control of certain aspects of my life, what I work on, who I work with, the
Mm-hmm.
kind of life I like to live. Alam mo yun?
Yeah.
Parang, tsaka, hello, life is really hard, but you can choose the kind of hard you're willing to take. Alam mo
Yeah.
yun? Parang in business, there are a lot of concerns, endless concerns every single day, even up until now. But these kinds of problems are the kinds of problems I wanna face career-wise. I love these
Mm-hmm.
kinds of problems. It fuels me to live more, to work more. Alam mo yun, parang iba yung energy na
Mm-hmm.
nag-exude sa akin kapag ito yung mga problemang kinakaharap ko. Because I'd like to help others and help my employees along the way. So, alam mo yun, parang sometimes we can choose the kind of heart we like.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And with regards to identity, because she mentioned something about I am a musician, but most people know me as the girl from the Elana lives. So parang there's a conflict between who I want to be or who I want to be versus who people see me as. And there's a conversation I remember. I think it was from a Matt Diavella podcast episode. I forgot which one it was, but basically he said that everyone is going to put you inside a box. Everyone's going to do that anyway, but you can take control of how people see you through branding. And branding isn't just for business or marketing or making money. Branding can also be if you want to be in control of your identity, especially in a public space such as social media. So I guess, I mean, this is not an advice at all because I mean, like Frankie has her own thing going on, and I'm sure she already knows this. She's amazing. She articulated everything amazingly in her blog. And I guess from my side lang, my issue was I as a YouTuber, like I love travel. I wanted to do more travel stuff, ganyan. But then my YouTube views would dwindle kapag ka travel vlogs. As in, nobody watches my travel vlogs. And then, what people really like are makeup, ganyan. But I'm not a big fan of makeup, but that's how I make money. So I guess I do get the struggle of that. Although I'm not as passionate as Frankie with regards to, her music. Hindi naman ako ganun ka passionate about travel. to the point na I really struggle with it. So I'm not even gonna compare that. But I guess the biggest thing that helped me was to just detach myself. Yun talaga, like detach myself from all the labels that I have. I don't care anymore if people see me as the travel girl or the makeup girl or whatever. Right now, because I've detached myself from those labels, it's easier for me to just make decisions based on what works for me, whether that's in the money department or in the artistic department. So I guess it's just easier because it's less pressure. Like, if I eliminate all the other factors, like other people's perception, how they see me, then to me it just feels lighter. Now, okay, if I make this decision, it's gonna be because it makes sense for my current setup in life. Maybe it's because, oh, I'm gonna do this job because I need money right now, which I've done for a long time. And then on the other hand, there's, oh, I'm gonna do this because this will help me. Let's say I'm gonna do more makeup videos because this will allow me a bigger audience. And then eventually, once I have a bigger audience, I can choose what I want to share. And it will matter. Like, people won't care. So parang just do the next best thing, the right thing in the moment, and forget about everything else. Because when we're crowded by everyone's expectations, it's hard to see what really matters to us.
Totoo.
Yan.
You also have to silent the outer voices and even the inner voices sometimes na parang
Mm-hmm.
when it's all quiet and it's just you, parang saka mo lang din ma-realize kung ano nga ba talaga, what really makes me happy. So,
Yeah. I guess, Frankie na lang, if you're listening, I hope
oo
you
nga.
share more of your music. Because I,
I
I follow
know.
you on Instagram and I follow you on Facebook. And, I guess a lot of your followers are social media connections. If you didn't share this, I wouldn't have known that you were a musician. So
Exactly.
as a social media person, the only thing I would challenge you to do is to post more of your music. Like, just
Totoo.
show more of your musician side out there, cuz like, you don't know who is watching you, and even if it doesn't translate into a career, at the end of the day, you're still the version of yourself that you really want to share. So, who cares if people know you about your lives? Who cares if, like, not enough know about your music? Post whatever you want, do whatever you want, and then, you just open if you open yourself up to the universe, you never know who's on the other side of the screen. Mhm.
Exactly. Tsaka you should also follow her blog. Oh my gosh. Parang bigla
She
akong na-miss
writes
magbasa ng
really well,
blogs.
no?
I
She writes
know.
really well.
I know. Ganda. So, yeah.
Thank you, Frankie, for sharing. Sending
Thank
you
you,
love.
Frankie. Yes. So, for our next story naman, it's from Casey Cortez. She said, I thought taking up political science and going to law school after would make me feel like I accomplished something and that I'd make a difference. But during my last term in pol sci, I realized how miserable it was making me. I even had panic attacks and at home and school. I felt like I wasn't being myself, wasn't doing it for myself, and was just doing what other people wanted. I was also doing it for my parents' approval. I even told them that school was making me miserable and that I wanted to have the chance of exploring what I wanted to do in life, even if I fail. They never approved. LOL. I was 24 years old when I realized that I needed to take control of my life, even if I didn't know what I wanted yet. I'm 27 years old now, still going through my healing process, but I feel lighter and happier because I took control.
I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's a success story. Like, you don't have to arrive at an answer for it to be considered as a success story. Just recognizing na, okay, this is the work that I need to do. That's already success. Taking
Totoo.
control.
Exactly. Ako kasi parang I also feel you, Christine, kasi when I was young, I was more of a go with the flow person. Alam mo yun, parang wala talaga akong end
Mm-hmm.
point, wala akong goal, alam mo yun, parang sige lang, kung ano lang mangyari in life, ganun. So, sobrang sunurin ko sa magulang ko. I always wanted my parents' approval, kung anong gusto nila, go. Uh, quick story time lang din. My dream school was UST.
Really?
And yeah, my first choice was nursing, then accounting. Sobrang
OMG.
layo. I graduated hospitality management, by the way. So, I passed both, but my parents wouldn't approve kasi nga 'di ba strict ang aking mga parents. Kasi unang-una malayo and ayaw nila akong mag-dorm. Ganon. So, yeah, so, well, my mom worked in a prestigious international school. It's called Southville Foreign University. Ang lapit niya sa bahay, and I honestly didn't have any choice back then. So, parang, sige na nga, okay, fine, kung ano na lang. So, I
Mm-mm.
ended up enrolling for the hospitality management course. But little did I know that I really enjoyed it so much. And, ayun, I realized na ang dami ko palang hindi na-explore pa na, alam mo yun, but yun nga, I enjoy my hospitality management job, but I started asking myself nga na, when will I ever take control of my life? Ganon. So,
When
well,
did
yeah.
you take control of your life?
Ano ba? 24 na ako.
Mm. Yeah.
So, that's when parang nasa desk job ako. Tapos parang sabi ko, masaya naman ako dito. Pero ano, sino ba yung natutulungan ko in life?
Mm-hmm.
Parang dito sa career na to. Okay, guests. What else? Okay, my company. And then what? Ganon. So, when I started having these kinds of questions, parang,
So regarding yung parents thing, I guess I never had this problem mostly because I always was a little rebellious. I always thought na okay, I have one life. I need to get to choose what it is. Now my issue naman was that because pinaglaban ko siya very early on. Literally, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So nag-shift ako ng degree, I took this job, I took this internship. But yun nga, but like with what Casey said, it's important na you get to explore what you want, and if you fail, it's your responsibility. So we really learn when we are held responsible and accountable for our choices. Hindi katulad yung if people are just gonna spoon feed you with perfection. Like what's gonna happen to you? Hindi mo matututunan. And part of that growing process is that pain of failing and learning and then failing again and learning again. Because yun talaga yung important na experience.
very, very true. Ay,
ASMR. Charot. For
ASMR.
our next question, we have Junessa Rendon. She says, existential crisis happened sa akin when I got into the deep hole of self-development and spirituality. After going in and reading a crap ton of books about it, I questioned everything. Life, myself, why I believed in the things that I believed. It helped me mend a lot of old wounds, but it was tough reopening them. But I but I realized I cannot change who I am if I keep sweeping things under the rug. Most people call it shadow work, but I call it therapy. It eventually led me to figuring out what I really wanted to get out of life, realigning my goals and purpose, course correction, and all that good stuff. You know, when you get into self development, you almost instantly get into existential crisis rin. Because the more you learn about the psychology or like the science behind these things, you're gonna start thinking, oh my god, like none of what I know is true. Or mali pala ako. So what do I do now? Sometimes you end up more confused. Do you experience that
Exactly.
too?
Yeah, exactly. I actually read The Purpose Driven Life when I was 17, and I was like, heck, it made me question my life even more. Tapos parang, oh my gosh, wala pala akong alam sa buhay. Meron ba ako, am I even good at something? Parang, merong iba na talagang alam nila yung passion nila eh. Magaling
Mhm.
silang kumanta, they like writing stories, ang galing nila mag-vlog. Pero, ano nga bang meron ako? Ganon, may mga ganong questions. And Yeah, and comparing socks, I didn't know my ideals, my core values, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
etc. Pero you'll just learn it along the way. I mean, ma-realize mo na lang din siya along the way. So, yeah. Go
Do
lang ng
you,
go. Basa lang ng basa.
yung you mentioned kanina yung Existential Courage by Arian Serafico.
Yes, yes. Actually, isa yan sa mga recommendations ko later. Pero I'll
Mm-hmm.
talk about it right now. Ito siya. It's a very good book if you are ito, a survival guide for your existential crisis and all the ones after that. So it's very actionable. I love it. Ang daming mga questions dito, ang daming if you are the kind of person who wants workbooks na parang magsusulat ka and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
this is the book you have to get. And hindi lang siya parang another self-help book na, okay, pag natapos mo basahin, parang, okay, what now?
Ang hirap
Ganun.
ng
So,
what now?
yes, exactly. Tapos parang sabi nga niya dito na you have to reframe the questions you're asking so you can arrive at more honest and authentic answers.
It's
Yes.
true. You know the question, what do I want to do in life? It's so hard to answer because, like, do you pick one thing
Oo.
or what is that question even? So, if we reframe those questions into something we can answer honestly and we can answer na helpful, then it might be easier. Maybe we're asking ourselves the wrong questions.
True. And last but not the least, from Coco Cordero, she said, existential crisis for me felt like I had so much I want to do, but I didn't know which one. It came early to me, like 23 to 24 years old siguro. I did the ikigai thing, and then I realized that the things I've been doing have always been consistent: speaking, singing, acting, and writing. Then I realized I didn't have to feel lost because I've been doing what I should be doing all along. Also, that it's okay to do them all. People will say you can't achieve anything if you don't put your 100% in it, but why should you sacrifice the things that make you happy for the sake of one goal? I'd rather take the path where I strive in doing many things than let go of one. So I've always been a yes girl and I don't mind doing them all because I love every bit of it. The pandemic shifted this structure though, but I learned to shift my skills in other things I can try. With my core skills at my compass, I won't run out of opportunities. I choose to do what makes me feel alive, and I think that's what existing should be. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Charing.
Charing!
So, ayun, she's mentioned about core skills and I also believe in defining your own core values. Yun nga, kasi
Mhm.
it guides you in all the decisions you make. And yun nga, I agree that you can do a lot of things at the same time and equally love them as long as it makes you happy and fulfilled and not burnt out. Tsaka ano,
Sobrang, mm.
'di ba? Tsaka especially when you're young, go ahead and utilize all your time and energy and youth in experimenting things. Alam mo yun, things that truly matters and yung nag-resonate talaga sa
Mm.
being mo. Alam mo yun, use up your 20s in this and don't feel like you're being left behind kasi
Yeah.
you're not. And focus on your own progress and honor it. So,
Alam mo,
yan.
sobrang problem ko din 'to, yung ang dami-dami kong gustong gawin. As in, I started a YouTube channel, I was freelancing, nag-start akong podcast, and then merong Facebook group, and then merong Moreno the Label, and then nag-start akong ideology. That was my issue for a long, long time. And then my friend told me, yun nga, the other episode, we were talking about essentialism and minimalism. So essentialism also applies to not just your physical material possessions, but also how you live your life. So in this case, I tried to apply essentialism to my career. Kasi nga, there are always trade-offs. So yes, you can do everything at the same time, but at what capacity? So for me, I agree with Coco. I do the same thing. Like I can't let go of any of my passions. I can't let go of my YouTube channel. I can't let go of the podcast. I can't let go of, ang tawag dito. yung Morena the Label or the merch business, I need, tapos meron pa akong Toastmasters na public speaking, and then I have rock climbing, my other hobby. So parang, do I realistically do everything or do I choose one? But since I refuse to choose one and I still want to do everything, now the best trade off is not to do everything at the same level all the time, but to kind of see kung anong percentage ng energy yung isa-spend ko for what. And now, because my bread and butter is ideology and Morena the Label, so like 80% of my energy and my effort goes there. Kasi syempre, I need to earn money, I need to live. But at the same time, that doesn't mean mawawala yung other things in my life, my other creative pursuits. But I had to be honest with myself, and I think that really helped me do everything. I had to be honest with myself kung ano ba talaga kaya ko gawin. So for example, sa YouTube channel ko, instead of uploading 3 times a week every single week, I just upload once a week now. And it's much more doable kasi I don't have to plan these eg- ano to, like exaggeratedly heavy schedule na hindi ko naman bread and butter yung YouTube eh. I can still do it but at a lesser capacity para maging realistic. At the end of the day, I'm human. Hindi ko kaya gawin lahat. And then yun nga, podcasting. My struggle with season 1 was I had to schedule every week with a different person. Tapos arrange ko sa schedule nila. Syempre, ang hirap nun. But now, we only see each other Wednesdays, specific time, and alam mo yun, it really helps because there's structure and it's much less effort and mental work because na-set up na natin yung system. So I guess I do agree na talagang you can do everything at the same time. But also to care for your own mental health, you have to specify how much work am I putting into this passion and this project. Kasi if we always spend ourselves to the bone na talagang ubos na ubos tayo, tayo din yung mahirapan at the very end. So everything is about trade-offs and balance and just prioritizing what makes sense at the moment. What do you
Everything is
think?
figure outable. Alam mo
Yes,
yan?
by Marie Forleo.
Yes, correct. From Marrying Marie. And yeah, I also have to agree with you na you have to strip off everything and ask yourself what is really essential in my life. Then you have to carve your schedule around it. Alam
Mm-hmm.
mo yun?
That's so
Parang,
good.
kasi ano ba talaga yung practicality-wise, what will feed you? What will feed
Mm-hmm.
your family? Ganon. Then, it doesn't necessarily mean na work ka lang ng work. You can't work on your hobbies as well on the side. So, tsaka hobbies keeps us sane. Alam mo yun. Parang
True.
sometimes ako nga honestly na miss ko ng mag Nintendo Switch and maglaro ng Animal Crossing because I'm too busy right now. But sometimes I just need to let go of things and wala, maglalaro ako today. Ganon. So it keeps you sane. So go
Yeah,
lang with
you
all
can't
your
say
hobbies.
goodbye to the things that you love just because, something else is gonna make more money or whatever. I mean, it's definitely how you figure your system out. You carve out time. I really like that advice. Talagang you put something at the center and then you carve out time for all the other stuff that needs to be done for your own sake. Love it. Shall
Yes.
we move on to our gems?
Yes.
Right. So for our gems, this is the part where we talk about any readings, videos, podcasts, or films that we want to recommend to our listeners. So Riza mentioned her gem a while ago, but she's gonna expand a little bit about it in a bit. Existential courage. And
Mm.
then ako, oh, my gem is an Instagram post by, do you know Angeli Dub?
Ah, yeah.
She's
Oo.
the CEO of Access
Access track.
Travel PH. She's a founder. Tapos, so what happened was, syempre, quarantine and all of a sudden all the countries are in lockdown. So her business was no longer operational because it's a travel agency. Because I really liked what she wrote on her Instagram, and na wala lang, I think it's worth mentioning. She said, it's just a matter of perspective. You can either torture yourself with the things you cannot control, or you can wake up every single day with a new purpose. So, gusto ko yung yung like you can torture yourself with the things you can't control. Because sometimes, I always find myself thinking, overthinking in bed, like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? I don't know what's going on. Like, I have no control over this thing. But then at the same time, that energy I'm spending torturing myself over the things na hindi ko naman ma-explain, I can also use that and channel it into fixing the little things that does make sense. So, ayun. I really resonated with that, and especially now with the whole pandemic making everything uncertain, it's good now we're always I think it's a good mindset to have, to just wake up with a new purpose, knowing na okay, there's something that I can control and I'm just gonna work on that. So yeah, that's my gem for the week.
It's really nice kasi sometimes you really have to kasi wala namang one fits all na alam mo yun
Yeah.
advice for everyone. It still depends on how you process it, how you churn every single problem and every single question that you have in life. And
Mm-hmm.
that being said, I think one of the greatest takeaways dito din sa Existential Courage na book is about taking the leap nonetheless. Alam mo yun, kahit natatakot ka, kahit you feel like it's one goal, one question is really, really scary, you just have to sit down, take a break, breathe, and be logical of the next steps you have to take. Alam mo yun, parang, okay, ito yung situation ngayon, therefore, I need to do this. Therefore, I need to stop thinking about blank. Therefore, I need to start um, doing this okay so I can have money. Alam mo yun,
Mm-hmm.
parang,
Yeah.
it's about the thing, you have to work around the things you can control. Kasi, alam mo yun, parang, yun nga, ikaw nga yung may control dun eh. So, it's your power. It's all about thinking what I'll do next.
Yeah. Instead of focusing on the existential na hindi mo masasagot, think about
Mm-hmm.
the actionable. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Camp Confidence Radio. Please don't forget to share and tag us on Instagram at Camp Confidence Radio if you're tuned in.
And if you want to be part of our future episodes, you can join us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/groups/Camp Confidence to join discussions and to submit community questions.
You can also follow me at Ayin Bernos, at Morena the Label, and at ideology.studio on Instagram.
And I am over at Rizza Lana at lana.ph at mink.ph on Instagram. And we will see you guys on the next one.
Bye!
Bye bye. Have a great
Camp
week ahead.